As fans, we love to know as much as we can on any particular character in a series we love. That's why it's so frustrating when there's so little information out there on certain characters. Fan theories may tide us over for a while, but in the end, we seriously just want some answers. Who are these people? Some of them we've already met in other films, some of them have been referenced, and some have yet to make an impression but are attached to some huge properties. Let's find out who they are. But before we get started, be sure to click on that subscribe button to stay up to date with all things CBR.
I know all about waiting. For my family. They'll be back. One day.
Rey, the one that's been on just about everyone's minds ever since The Force Awakens was released back in December of 2015. Just who the heck is Rey? She appeared out of nowhere and has become the central character in the sequel trilogy, but despite how much we love the character and newcomer Daisy Ridley, we really don't know much about the character. What we do know is that she was a scavenger on Jakku and she was waiting for her parents to come back and get her. It's likely that we'll never actually meet her parents, or that they'll play a much less significant role in her identity, as recently debated in Entertainment Weekly, but that in turn just adds to her mystery. How come she has such strong Force abilities, and why does Anakin's lightsaber call out to her? There are many theories as to who she can be, but we hope that The Last Jedi, due this December, will shed some light on who this mysterious character is. Who do you think she is, and will it play any significant role in the plot of the upcoming films? Let us know what you hope to see in Episode 8.
Fine. I'll do it myself.
Thanos. So, in all honesty, if you've never read the comics, you probably have no idea who or what Thanos actually is. Heck, you're probably still unsure what his powers are too, and even his motivations. Even if you've read some of his comic book stories, there's no guarantee that his MCU appearance in the upcoming Avengers Infinity War will be exactly the same. Thus far, Thanos has spent most of his time sitting down in a floating space chair, getting other people to do his work for him. Is he out to conquer the galaxy? Earth specifically? Does he have it out for costumed heroes? Right now, his motivations are unclear, and we're not even sure where he came from in space either. Here's hoping these questions get answered in the first half of Infinity War, which wrapped up production recently, and not in the second half, which should be released sometime in 2019. We hope that his motivations, ambitions, and goals become clear to us by then, because right now, he's a one-dimensional bad guy who has a thing for a shiny gauntlet. As of this moment, that gauntlet is empty, so in order to do any damage with it, Thanos is gonna have to go hunting for some of those Infinity Stones we've been hearing so much about. Cyborg. We've slowly been introduced to the members of the Justice League over the year. Superman started it all off with Man of Steel, while Batman and Wonder Woman both appeared in Dawn of Justice, and the latter getting her own solo film in 2017. The trio will join forces with The Flash, Aquaman, and Cyborg in November, but of all the characters in the film, we probably know the least about Cyborg. Aquaman's been promoted in the press thanks to his own solo film being filmed with James Wan behind the lens. Flash has his own separate TV show and has cameoed in both Batman v Superman and Suicide Squad. But everyone's been pretty quiet about Cyborg. So who is he? Fans who've read any of his solo comics or the Justice League line will no doubt be somewhat familiar with the character. But considering how different Batman, Aquaman, and Superman have been from their source material, we're not too sure what to expect from Cyborg. Furthermore, word that Justice League's reshoots have been largely focused on Cyborg means that the second cut will feature a character that might be very different from the first one if reports are to be trusted.
You know, these sets were fully functioning worlds. I think the trick for me was just to not be impressed by it on camera.
Officer K. Blade Runner is one of the most beloved and acclaimed films of the 20th century. The Ridley Scott-directed sci-fi film starred Harrison Ford as Deckard, a Blade Runner who's out to take out the replicants, bioengineered people in a very rainy future Los Angeles. Despite the fact that the film came out in 1982, we're on the cusp of seeing its highly anticipated sequel. Why is it so anticipated? Well, because Denis Villeneuve of Arrival and Sicario fame is directing this time around. Harrison Ford is back as well, but not as the lead character. That honor goes to Ryan Gosling as Officer K. Right off the bat, something's different here. Unlike Ford's Blade Runner, who was given a memorable name, Gosling's character feels more like a serial number with little personality. In a world where there are bioengineered beings roaming the streets, this is definitely something that raises some eyebrows. So, just who is Officer K? Is he a Blade Runner and a replicant? As of right now, we have no idea, but that's what makes it so interesting. Gosling is one of the biggest names in Hollywood right now, and we're pretty amped to see what he offers us in the sequel. Unlike the first film, 20 2049 is not based on a book, so the mystery shall remain unknown until it hits theaters.
So I played Jake Pentecost, who's been, away during Pacific Rim 1. He's kind of like the prodigal son who never came back.
Jake Pentecost. This is where some of you might be asking, who the devil is Jake Pentecost? Well, he happens to be played by none other than John Boyega and is the lead character in the upcoming Pacific Rim sequel, Uprising. His character is the son of Idris Elba's character from the first film, and that's about as much as we know of it, aside from the fact that he'll be piloting one of the Jaegers in the film. What we know so far about the film is that it takes place some 10 years after the events of the last film. Sitting in the director's chair this time around is not Guillermo del Toro, who will be producing, but Stephen S. DeKnight, best known for creating the hit TV series Spartacus, as well as being a writer, director, and producer on such shows as Smallville, Daredevil Season 1, and the Buffy spin-off Angel. DeKnight will also be writing Uprising, and based on his experience in television, he knows how to write layered and interesting characters. We hope that Jake is a much more interesting and developed character than Charlie Hunnam's Beckett, who was a bit thin on character development. Pacific Rim was by no means a huge hit at the box office, but it garnered a large following ever since, making the sequel a possibility.
I found him! Dumbledore is particularly famous for his defeat of the Dark Wizard Grindelwald in 1945.
Grindelwald. Harry Potter fans will no doubt know their fair share of history concerning Grindelwald. The character was name-dropped in the first novel and tied himself into the plot of the Deathly Hallows. But in the Fantastic Beasts films, of which there will be 5, the Dark Wizard and former friend of Dumbledore's will be front and center. But what we know about him already pertains to only certain points in time. We have no idea what he's going to be doing in the upcoming films and why he's doing these things as of yet. What we know so far about Grindelwald is he's something of a fanatic and he used to be BFFs with Dumbledore. But why is he doing the things he's doing, and what does he plan next? Why did he and Dumbledore have a falling out, and what do the filmmakers plan on revealing to us over the next 4 films before the inevitable duel between the 2 great wizards? The filmmakers have already hinted that Johnny Depp's Grindelwald will play a much bigger role in the Fantastic sequel, and we'll start to get some insight as to who this character really is. Here's hoping there's an explanation for that unusual hairstyle.
This is an advanced prototype that your mother and I worked on together. She never got to use it. But now I realize that we were working on it for you.
Wasp. While the character was in the first Ant-Man film, she had yet to take on the mantle of the Wasp. Instead, Evangeline Lilly's Hope Van Dyne was a tough-as-nails board member for Pym Technologies. She's also the daughter of Hank Pym and Janet Van Dyne, the original Ant-Man and Wasp. In the MCU, Hope will take on the mantle that her mother once had, being the Wasp. Paul Rudd's Scott Lang has already appeared as Ant-Man twice, in his own solo film and in Captain America Civil War. But Hope has since been quiet, not showing up in that film, despite an after-credits scene in Civil War teasing the Wasp's arrival. She'll also be sitting out the first Infinity War film due in 2018. So the shroud of mystery will be around this character until the Ant-Man sequel, titled Ant-Man and the Wasp, hits theaters in July 2018 after Avengers Infinity War. We're quite curious to learn why someone who was given the Wasp suit sat out so many events since. Was she training, or does she have her own missions we're not privy to? Here's hoping the answer surprises us.
Just was such a fresh feeling of a movie, and I think a lot of things at that time were a bit redundant and kind of felt the same. For Kingsman to come out and just be so punk rock like it just stood out and it became like a cult love, and I just wanted to be a part of it, period.
Agent Tequila and Jack Daniels. Kingsman was a surprise hit back in 2014, giving spy fans a new hero to root for while also making fans of the hit graphic novel very happy. The film was oozing with style, gadgets, and cool characters and has garnered enough interest to warrant a sequel. We're about to get that film, The Golden Circle, in cinemas soon, and we'll be introduced to a whole new set of characters in the film which shifts some of the action to the US of A. It's there that the Kingsman will meet up with the Statesmen, the American counterparts. We'll meet Agent Tequila here, played by Channing Tatum himself, and his fellow statesman Jack Daniels, played by Game of Thrones' Pedro Pascal. Already, their names have many people curious and interested, as the Kingsman characters were extremely memorable, wacky, and full of personality in the first one. People loved Colin Firth's foul-mouthed yet elegantly dressed Harry Hart so much that the character is coming back for the sequel, despite being taken out by Samuel L. Jackson in the first film. Here's hoping that the American counterparts are just as memorable when the sequel hits theaters on September 21st. Until then, perhaps practice your American drawl.
Henry Cavill, well known for playing Superman in Man of Steel and Batman v Superman, will be taking on a role in the upcoming 6th installment in the Mission Impossible franchise.
Henry Cavill in Mission Impossible 6. The Mission Impossible franchise has become one of the most popular and entertaining action series in recent memory. The last two films, Ghost Protocol and Rogue Nation, have pushed the bar insanely high with the jaw-dropping stunts, non-stop action, and likable characters. Now a 6th entry is on the horizon and a new character is entering the fray. We don't even know this guy's name yet, but considering he'll be played by Superman himself, Henry Cavill, then we're automatically interested. Plus, there's the whole mustache thing, which may honestly be the only concrete bit of information out there concerning his character. But the Mission Impossible characters are often colorful, charming, and likable. Evidence behind this comes from Simon Pegg, Jeremy Renner, and Ving Rhames' recurring characters, as well as Rogue Nation's Ilsa, played by Rebecca Ferguson. With Henry Cavill's charming and dapper performance in The Man from U.N.C.L.E., we're quite certain that the Brit will be more than capable to give us another memorable character from the series. With Tom Cruise's recent injury on set, though, we may have to wait a little longer to find out just who Cavill's playing and how great he'll be.
Yeah, this is some epic sort of story, isn't it? And beautiful cast.
Beautiful cast and beautiful wardrobe? I mean, like, it's all looking very good for you, isn't it?
Well, thank you very much. I feel lucky, luckier than lucky.
The Grandmaster. He's already made quite an impression in what little footage we've seen of him, but we honestly don't know that much about the version of the Grandmaster that will play a supporting role in the upcoming Thor Ragnarok. What we do know is he's played by the one and only Jeff Goldblum, and he was given a lot of freedom in how he plays the role. But why did he capture Thor, and what's up with the Space Gladiator matches? Is he a villain? Is he a bored egomaniac? We've been wondering what this colorful character's endgame is, and we can't wait to find out. Fans of Jurassic Park are excited to see Goldblum back in a role that's more playful and charming, unlike his portrayal of Ian Malcolm in The Lost World, who ended up feeling like a vastly different character in the sequel. But the wacky colors and quick impression in the trailers has already piqued our curiosity. The Thor series has had some of the more memorable characters in the MCU, from the God of Thunder himself to his adoptive brother Loki and Anthony Hopkins as Odin. We really hope that the Grandmaster and the other new characters in Ragnarok are equally as memorable once the godly film smashes into theaters this November.
I like it.
I know, it's great, right?
Another!
Well, that's it for now, everyone. Which one of these characters are you most looking forward to? Does the character have any impact on your excitement for the film? Or would you still rush out to see these movies regardless of the mystery around certain characters? Let us know in the comments below, and be sure to like this video and subscribe to the channel for more awesome videos like this one added to your playlist. Thanks for watching.